Hello everyone, my name is Heather Autumn and welcome to my channel. Another rainy day. It's cold and rainy. So again, in New England, there's really good days in the spring, and usually those are when I'm at work. And then there's really miserable days like today. It's like literally monotone gray. It's like 37 degrees out. So because it's so rainy outside, and because I've also come out of a very busy work week, I think we're gonna hang out at home. But that doesn't mean it has to be boring. One thing I wanted to do today was actually make some soap. I know in a past episode that I had that was all about, frugal living and little tips and tricks, I said that I wanted to show you guys how to make soap because it's super cost effective. And when you make a huge brick of it like this and you cut it up and you store it, you can use it whenever. And so instead of spending $5 for one of those little artisan things, you can actually make a whole brick and have it for whenever you want. So I want to do that and maybe look up a recipe or something. I don't know, I'm just gonna have kind of a relaxed day, and I hope that's okay, and I'd love to have you come along. Everyone, my name is Heather Autumn and welcome to my channel. Alright, so we are going to head to Michael's, where I'm going to get the ingredients to make a green tea soap scrub. The air up here in Massachusetts is super dry, so I think having a nice good soap scrub, especially one that I didn't buy from Lush for $15, is essential. So we're going to take a quick drive down there, and I may or may not get groceries for tonight's dinner on the way back. So I've been to 2 Michael's now, and they literally have nothing when it comes to soap making. They have like 2 fragrances and hardly any bases and things like that. So we're gonna switch it up. I'm not gonna do the original soap. Instead, I'm gonna do a coffee soap because frankly, I'm kind of tired. So the only thing I'm getting here is this 2 pounds of melt and pour goat's milk base. And that's gonna make it really nice and smooth. And from there, we're gonna make a quick stop at the store where I'll pick up some coffee and we'll just go from there, I guess. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this coffee soap, and the nice thing about it is it doesn't contain lye. And for those of you who don't know, lye is often used in soap products. It can be pretty harmful. It can leave chemical burns. It can really irritate your eyes. I've never worked with it because I'm a little nervous about it. But this is a really simple, kind of straightforward soap recipe. So if you want the recipe for this, I'm going to actually link you to my blog where I actually already have it written. I'm actually using the recipe that I have there for this. And with that, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is get your base, which this is a goat's milk base. You want to get it nice and melted. And there's a couple ways to do that. And I'm going to be microwaving it in the microwave. However, if you don't feel comfortable trying that, which I'm not even sure I'm comfortable with, you can do what I originally did, which is the double boiler method. And what that is you take a pot that is a little bit smaller than your bowl and you fill it with hot water, and then you get that boiling, and then you put the soap base in the bowl and you set that on top of the boiling pot. And then the residual heat will eventually melt the base. So you can see it's starting to melt and some steam coming out. All right, so it is almost ready to go. Okay, so we have our base here, and we're gonna add our 2 tablespoons of coffee grounds. You wanna stir in your 2 tablespoons of ground coffee. This can be any kind, any variety you like, just as long as it's ground. We're gonna take our coffee fragrance, and we're gonna put some in here. Now the original recipe calls for 6 drops. I ended up putting in 60, just to make sure that the smell is really good. So use your own judgment. And we just stir that fragrance in. I'm just putting a protective mat down. I have my silicone mold here. I'm just gonna pour my mixture right in. We're gonna sprinkle on some of our coffee grounds. And then you're gonna spray it lightly with your alcohol. And you do this so that all those tiny little bubbles that form on the top will pop, and you'll have a nice, smooth, strong surface. All right, believe it or not, that's how easy it is to make this soap. And now you just let it sit in the mold for anywhere from about 4 to 8 hours. Personally, I would say the longer the better, but just as long as it's cool and it doesn't feel soft when you pick it up out of the mold. And then once it's all done, you're gonna use this, which is a soap knife, and you're going to cut that into individual pieces, and it's good to go. So I'm gonna pause right here, and then the closer it gets to dinner time, I'm gonna show you how to make a Mongolian beef noodle dish. And it looks so good, and I really am in this pasta kick lately. It's not okay. I think it has to do with the weather, but I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's as delicious as it looks. Okay, so a couple days have gone by. I am back home from work. I'm gonna go and get started on dinner, which is going to be a Mongolian ground beef noodles. It looks so good, and I've been wanting to try this recipe for a while. So if you're interested in having this all written out and trying it yourself, be sure to check the description below, where I will link to my blog, and I'll have everything written out step by step. And with that, let's get started. All right, so the first thing you want to do is get your pot of water on to boil and season that with salt, and that will be for your noodles. So while that's boiling and doing its thing, you're gonna go and take some ground beef, and you're gonna go and brown that over medium heat in a large pan. From there, you're gonna go and start in on your sauce. So once that's all browned and the excess oil has been drained off, you're gonna add in your minced garlic and let that cook for 1 minute. And then you're gonna stir in the following, which would be your brown sugar, your beef broth, soy sauce, hoisin sauce, ground ginger, ground black pepper, and red pepper flakes. Now, of course, you can omit the red pepper flakes if you're not into spicy food, but I happen to like that, so I'm gonna keep those in. So you're gonna give that a good stir and make sure all of those flavors are combined. So in order to thicken the sauce, what we're gonna do is take some cornstarch and some water, and you're gonna mix that in a bowl separately and then slowly add it to your ground beef. That's gonna give some richness and just create a thicker sauce. At this point, you're gonna go and you're gonna combine that beef mixture and the sauce with your noodles and give it a good toss. And at this point, you can plate it. So I like to top mine with some green onions as well as some sesame seeds, but you can leave those off if that's best for you. Also, if you're going for a healthier route, which I'm not, I'm kind of carbo loading right now, you can also add in things like carrots or even broccoli to kind of give it a little bit more veggies and a little less carbs. Also, as a side note, if you want to, you can freeze this by just freezing the ground beef and sauce mixture separately. And then when you're gonna make this into a meal, you're gonna go and just make your noodles and thaw out the ground beef and maybe warm it up a little in the microwave, and that would be your dinner. I'm always a fan of things I can freeze because I make a whole bunch of stuff and then I put it in the freezer and I can have nice meals all week instead of coming home and cooking. All right, so now that it's all done, let's give this a try. All right, so this actually took no time to put together, and I decided to go and freeze some of them. So you can see them kind of lined up there cooling. And then the stuff that I had left over, I just made enough pasta for myself. And so I'm definitely gonna enjoy those leftovers. But here is our first bite. I have some of the beef on there, as well as the noodles and the sauce. And yeah, so let's give it a try. All right, so it's meaty, it's sweet. Of course, you have those delicious carbs, but this is one of those meals where I could see you being in a hurry and you just throw these things in a pot. It just comes together really fast. And again, I love that it freezes. And then you pair that with some salad and it's just really relaxing. So this is a travel and food vlog, and I also have a little bit of slice of life sprinkled in. So if you're into that kind of thing, please be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It helps my channel and it lets you know when I have a new episode or a new short out. But I hope this was at least fun to watch, and I also hope that you have a great rest of your week. So thanks again, and I will see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. EST. All right, bye.